Hello, you're listening to Count Richard von Coutinho Clergy. Today, Sunday the 17th of September, a lovely day of 15.5 degrees. I'm travelling here with the lovely Jenny on board a barge, and forgive me, I can't pronounce the name.
I don't blame you at all. It's called the Shalakabuki, which is the Irish colloquialism for the magic snail. So the canal being the silver trail, and the cabin of the boat being the shell, and the bow and stern representing the body of the snail.
Lovely.
And it goes very slowly.
And it goes very slowly, at a snail's pace.
At a snail's pace, so Shalakabuki.
Yeah. And how long are you doing tours along the canal?
This will be my 5th year.
Yeah.
I've been boating for about 20 years. And had the delightful life of doing some voluntary work for the older person for a decade before. It was actually the nurses who encouraged me to open it as a business, because their family members wanted me to take out the older person out for the day. And so I was inspired to do it, even though I never envisaged it for myself. It has become my life's work now. It's a great privilege to do it. Yeah,
and how many can you take on board?
I can take 12 on board.
Yeah.
It's certified by the Department of Transport, so my passenger limit is 12, but I do suggest to people 10. Because that's just more comfortable in inclement weather.
Right, and you have a loo and all on board.
I have a very comfortable toilet. Excellent. Yeah, it was designed. The interior was designed to accommodate the older person and people with mobility issues and challenges like that. So it's really comfortable. It's very homely. It's got a lovely fresh look. But it's a very homely boat, very comfortable and welcoming, and that's the way I've made sure people feel welcome.
And for your working season, what would that be, from March to October, or all year round?
In fact, I'm all year round. The barge goes out twice a day for 3-hour skippered charters, and the choices are morning, afternoon, or sunset. Right. So although there are 3 choices, it does go out just twice a day. It's available every day, all year round.
Really, all year round?
Including Christmas. And
fantastic. Do you provide turkey dinners on Christmas Day?
Oh my God, I demand that passengers bring turkey.
Right.
In actual fact, what I do provide is tea, coffee, hot chocolate, mulled wine and mince pies at Christmas, lemonade in the summertime, and passengers always bring their own refreshments and their own picnic with them.
Isn't that lovely? And you have a wood burning stove down there as well, is that
Very important. That's
amazing.
Like every soulful thing, it needs a heart, and our lovely red stove indeed provides that, even on a chilly summer evening. I like the stove.
And I believe too, I know that they plan in the future to actually take out stoves from houses, but one of the few places you can still use a wood burning stove is actually on board a boat.
Isn't that wonderful? Yeah, I was at my surveyor when I was renewing my certificate, told me that, and I was absolutely charmed. Yeah, it's a lovely thing.
But this is one of the things I can't understand why we haven't got more of a houseboat community in this country, especially with the housing crisis the way it is.
It's certainly an incredible way for people to live.
Yes.
People do presume that it's a great deal cheaper, and certainly it's a lot cheaper to buy a boat than it is to buy a house.
Yes.
However, unless you're really keen on your engineering, it can be quite an expensive way to live. So I hope very much that the price hikes that they're suggesting don't come into play. Because, the marine things are usually 5 or 6 times more expensive.
Really?
So, for example, a fridge.
Of course.
Yeah, a fridge is €1,000.
Right. €1,000?
Yes.
My God.
So a domestic one is 300.
Yeah.
But I know. But anything marine is very expensive, and therefore living on a boat is not quite as cheap as people imagine.
Okay, and obviously you have to deal with services such as wastewater, fresh water, and sewage and all that.
Yeah, up to €120 to cleanse a toilet tank.
Okay.
That needs to happen about once a month, up to 6 weeks, depending on the size of the tank. So all your outsourcing laundry, you're outsourcing your lithium battery is €1,000. So all these things on the boats are terribly expensive, which means that even though the yearly fee, which is €126 for a combined mooring and passage, and $250 for an extended mooring permit, in actual fact you are spending significantly more.
Sure.
Just maintaining your boat, keeping it safe, obviously doing fire checks, fire safety, all these things cost a couple £100. So it bounces up very, very quickly, and people aren't necessarily aware of that.
And if I may, Even in relation to the boat itself, was it an Irish-built boat?
It was.
And the dimensions of the boat, please.
I'm always very delighted to say that it was commissioned, designed and built by Derek Whelan,
Right.
who is one of the most prominent and wonderful members of the Royal Canal Amenity Group, the RCAG.
Wonderful.
So he commissioned boats and ran a hire boat service for
Right.
a time before he sold the fleet off privately, and I was lucky enough to actually purchase one of his beautiful
Right.
boats.
And there's steel hold, is it?
Steel hulled,
Yeah.
17.5 tons,
Yeah.
39 feet in length,
Right.
9.5 foot in width,
Okay.
with a draft of 2.4 feet.
Right. And what's the longest journey you've done on this?
To infinity.
To
and
infinity
beyond.
and beyond. Excellent.
Down to the Shannon,
Yeah.
up to Dublin,
Right.
the entire length and breadth of the
That's fantastic.
beautiful Royal Canal.
So
Yeah.
the Royal Canal is what, 90 miles, is that right?
It's 90.
And 46 locks.
That's right, 46 locks,
Yeah.
90 miles long, 126 kilometres.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And I believe it costs twice the amount the Grand Canal was put into it.
Well, the eccentric and wonderful second
Yeah.
Duke of Leinster decided that it was definitely going to pass the seat of Curtin,
Yeah.
and in so doing, it did bring it a number of miles outside its logical route to pass
Right.
it to Cargo, which is kind of eccentric, and it was said to be a little bit conceited. He was determined,
Right.
and that's what happened. The reason why for the doubling cost is really to do with gunpowder and the deep sinking.
Okay.
He got an injection of 24,000
Wow.
euros to help with the
Right.
purchase of the gunpowder, which they blasted through in just a number of weeks.
Right.
And
How long did it take them to do it? How many years?
Well, it started in 1790.
1790,
it began,
wow.
and it was finished in 1817.
1817?
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
So the incredible task.
Yeah.
The lackeys, Irish and English combined, dug it out. In this section here, it's all blasted out as gunpowder.
Right.
That's what costs so much. It's very expensive in the day.
Yeah, I
We're
can
going
only
back to a time when I always think it's fascinating that the locomotive was invented before the bicycle.
Yeah,
I just think that's amazing.
of course.
So we're going through now
Yeah.
a kind of a post-industrial phenomenon, which has been taken over by nature. So it
Right.
would have been a quarry. It was all blasted
Wonderful.
out. So it would have initially looked like a quarry back in the day, but
Right.
now what we're left with is this wonderful wild garden with mosses and wildlife that you rarely see. I often have passengers aboard who recognise mosses from their childhood, and just rabbit's ears, and they have little names for things that I'm really educated on a daily basis with the people who board the boat.
And
it's they that I learn from.
But the other thing that I'm also impressed with is the fact that the majority of the trees that we see are also native species rather than imports. Like I haven't seen any Scots. I think Scots pine is the only.
Yeah, Scots pine. We do have, unfortunately, you can see a little bit of rhododendron popping up, and there's also the dogweed, which isn't supposed to be here.
Okay.
It's not too prolific in here. I'm not sure why the deep sinking seems to be able to protect itself.
Right.
I mean, the ivy should be maintained and killed, at source there, and it eventually does.
Right.
It does. The trees do succumb to the ivy, but there's kind of a natural. There's a natural process.
An ecosystem around it as well.
It is, yeah. Also in the water, there's not so much weed, so it's wonderful to passage by boat because it's not exposed to the same kind of photosynthesis as the rest of the canal because of the lovely canopy.
It's beautiful, isn't it? All right. Well, thank you, Jenny, for your time.
It's an
Appreciate you having
pleasure.
a few words. And I'll leave a link to your business below if that's okay.
I'd be very grateful.
All right.
Thanks. Look forward to having everyone aboard. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, good luck, and God bless.